Can you guess the company who has reimagined travel accommodation and created a niche in the industry? Yes, you got it right. It's Airbnb. So just stick to your seat today because I, Dr. Shweta, will take you to the world of Airbnb. I'll talk about the foundation story and its patent portfolio, how a small startup who was lesser known to the rest of the world at their early stage shook the root of the major leading corporate giants of the world by merely using their power of patent. Airbnb founder's story is a story of persistence, determination, fear, and most of all, hustle. Airbnb has grown in part not just due to their organic grown patent but due to the number of acquisitions in recent years, notably Acquilio, Crashpadder, Navewise, Local Mind and Tilt. But before I begin, I request all my viewers who have not subscribed, please subscribe our channel and do not forget to press the bell icon so that you don't get to miss any of our videos. Secondly, I want to inform that from this video, I'm starting a series of stories of few startups and corporate, and the series will be called as the rise and fall of businesses and the role of patents. So the story started in October 2007. Two unemployed art school grads living in a 3-bedroom apartment in San Francisco, needing to make rent, decided on to rent out some air mattresses finally. When they linked up in San Francisco and were short of cash to pay the rent for their apartment, they decided to rent out their 3 air beds in their apartment to the designer like them who they knew would be coming to San Francisco for a design conference. But the actual story of Airbnb actually started in 2004 when both the founder, Chesky and Gebbia, were still students. Chesky and Gebbia, founders of Airbnb, worked together on many projects before they decided they should work on a startup like Airbnb. Energized by their initial success, both the founders decided to team up with Nathan Blakazik, a friend who was a recent Harvard graduate and a coder, to launch a web-based service. They initially called it Air Bed and Breakfast. Against all the odds, with no investor and thousands of dollars credit card debt, the founder has to resort to selling cereals to keep the company afloat. It took almost 2 years before Airbnb saw some traction. Today, Airbnb is a juggernaut of the internet business era and is still growing rapidly year to year. The company, still private, is highly controversial, but it is currently valued at more than $31 billion. The 3 founders are still involved in operationally running the company, and the founders are worth more than $3 billion each. Now, coming to the patents insight of Airbnb. The story of Airbnb has inspired so many startups in Silicon Valley, and not only in Silicon Valley, but across globe. And we can see that how many startups, especially we have our OYO as a big comparison to Airbnb. Yes, the model is different, but you can see both OYO also have changed the hospitality industry. Started in San Francisco in 2008, Airbnb becomes the biggest privately held company in the short-term house rental market space, where people list their properties for rent on its marketplace. The company has operations in over 220 countries and has more than 7 million properties listed on its marketplace. Now let's take insight into Airbnb patents. So to begin with the patent insight, the first question arises, how many patents did Airbnb have? Globally, Airbnb has total 191 patents, out of which 161 patents are active, and these patents belong to 55 unique patent families. And to your surprise, Airbnb have 4 patents in India also. Now, the second question comes, what are the technologies where Airbnb is filing? The technologies are reservation system, user interface, payment methods, demand forecasting, identifying verifications, security, customer support, and design. Now, the third question arises, what are the best patents of Airbnb? And few to mention in this video. The first is display screen with graphical user interface for a video pagination indicator. The second one is determining trustworthiness and compatibility of a person. The third is display screen with graphical user interface of an itinerary graphical element. Now, Airbnb has also patented software that digs through social media to root out people who display narcissism or psychopath. So the fourth question arises, which companies are using Airbnb patents to advance their research? If a patent or a patents from particular technology area of a company service receives a lot of citation, it implies that the technology is being followed and incrementally innovated by the citing companies. It also indicates that citing companies are working on similar and closely related technologies. So the companies using Airbnb patents include the list of Microsoft, IBM, Samsung, and many more, like Facebook also, like eBay also. So the list goes on. The next question arises that how many inventions of other companies were rejected due to Airbnb patent. It's strange, but it's true. The statistic shows that the companies that were trying to protect inventions similar to Airbnb, they couldn't because Airbnb had already protected before them. Examiners at USPTO used 16 Airbnb patent in 93 rejections. This story doesn't end here. The patent war doesn't end here. Actually, in the last, I would like to just throw some light on the case of Airbnb and IBM. Airbnb has been sued by IBM. IBM claimed that the short-term rental giant Airbnb took innovations made by IBM to run its e-commerce business, particularly innovations used by IBM in Prodigy, one of the first e-commerce services available before the advent of WWW, World Wide Web. So this was all about Airbnb and the rise of Airbnb. Thank you so much for watching us. Do subscribe our channel, and if there is any query, if anything you want to know or any specific video or a specific company you want me to come up with the story and the patent story, please mention in the comment box and do subscribe our channel. Thank you so much.